Welcome to another Tales from the Table. We are going to circle back to a session I talked about a couple weeks ago with a woman who's has the Myasthenia Gravis. So her eyes, the muscles of her eyes are losing muscular strength, and it's causing a lot of instability. So just to recap, last session, we did a bunch of work on her legs and getting her lymphatic system to work better through her legs with the homework of using a vibration plate and a sauna to detox the mold out of her system and inflammatory system so that she can then have greater stability when she's standing and moving. So today I got to see her and I was thrilled to see that when we did her intake and checked in with her, her ability to stand straight and not feel like she's always having to, like she just had no center of gravity. She had no balance. She was solid. Still work to be done, but it was such a pleasure to see that just from getting that feet session and giving her homework that she's been diligent at, she now has some sense of stability and center. Awesome. So today's session, we're taking it another layer deeper. We were brought into her superior lobe of her right lung and how it's pulled, the pleura had inflammation to it that was then sticking into the venous drainage and into that right atrium of the heart. So the lung didn't have motility. It did not have the viscoelasticity. It was stuck. The lung is one of the things that we use to detox, right? That we have mold, we usually get it inhaled. So when you have mold exposure, lungs are often involved. But then it's also sucking up against her venous drainage. So the ability for the body to take the veins and process it through is going to be impacted negatively because of this tension pattern between her right lung and how the veins are draining from her head as well as her lower body up into the right atrium. So that's what we did a lot of today, was in that superior lobe, getting the pleura moving, getting the motility back into the lung, making sure the lung was draining. And then as that happened, we then could get the relationship of the lung to this vena cava in the drainage of the venous system into the heart opened up. And at one point she could just feel, we weren't even working on her head, but it just flushed out through, and her whole right side, she was clearing her throat and she was feeling her sinus drainage. I mean, she was just draining massively from this. We kind of completed the session by bringing the work, stretching the veins through her neck, through her jugular frame, through the jugular veins, especially on this right side into the external, but then bilaterally in the internal, just to make sure that her brain can keep clearing out. And then we did a little bit work into the optic nerves on both sides. You know, the right side had more neural tension, the left side had more vascular tension. So we did some work on both sides just to get that communication of that optic nerve continued so that she can move along in this process of being able to have orientation through her eyes, finding the balance and regaining clarity through her vision, but also just being able to live in a more balanced and alive way and not be overcome by her illnesses. And she's finding the inner strength and the discipline to do her work at home, which makes my work look so much better. You know, we get to play on each other's together, and it makes a huge difference. So a really fun session today. And it's cool how the body shows us what's the next layer of unwinding, and then we get to kind of figure out the whys behind it. And I just find it endlessly fascinating. I just love this work. Thanks for joining me today. Blessings.